I was reading Forbes online yesterday, I think today. There is a company called Klarna, which got listed in the New York Stock Exchange actually today or yesterday. And I want all of you business people to listen to this. Forget about all the other things I talked about. Let us now think about this one point. Klarna got listed. It is a company that is dealing with payment settlements. It is an IT-based, it's a fintech. Out of that listing, the market capitalization or the worth of that company, we are talking about today, yesterday, today, depending on the time zone. Out of the shares going up of that company after listing, the market valuation of that company became 17 billion US dollars. But something interesting happened. Out of the listing of Klarna, 40 of the employees of Klarna, 40, became multimillionaires today. Workers, staff. I'm not talking about investors. I'm talking about staffers of Klarna. There is a company called NVIDIA, which is producing chips for AI. It has over 36,000 workers. 36,000 workers. Now listen here. Around half of NVIDIA employees, half of them are millionaires with, I'm talking about dollar millionaires, with an average net worth of $25 million. $25 million at our exchange rate is around 3 billion Kenya shillings. Net worth. Staff, over half of the 36,000 NVIDIA workers. The company called Microsoft had its 30th employee called Steve Ballmer. Steve Ballmer was the number 30 in terms of the employee list of Microsoft. Steve Ballmer today, at a net worth of over 150 billion US dollars, is now richer than the founder of Microsoft, called Bill Gates, at 109 billion US dollars. Underline that in my 3 statements or examples, I could give many, but on that 3, from Klarna that got listed just today, to NVIDIA, which now has a market cap of over 4.2 trillion US dollars, is actually, it has the highest market cap in the entire world. To Microsoft, which is also among the top 3 in terms of market cap in the world, underline one thing, that staff are millionaires, staff are billionaires. That is something we have to learn in this hall, that there is something called intrapreneurship. Intrapreneurship. That yes, you have that company producing paint, but you have to understand that some of the people working for you could actually be smarter than you. And if you don't recognize that, what we do in Kenya is we leave and start our own manufacturing, paint manufacturing company. If you are doing any kind of business, including hospitality, the expertise we have in this hall is you learn, branch out, go start your own, and exactly, you even pick the colors of your former employer. I'm talking to the employers in this hall. The biggest asset is the people. And if you have that company at 100%, you can always have stocks reserved for staff. And it doesn't mean whether you are listed or not, because I believe that the whole of the company would be worth more than the sum total of the parts out of the people who branch from you to start their own. And instead of letting that person, if you are doing manufacturing of, let's say, flour mill, unga, or you are doing manufacturing of fertilizer, or anything else, that person will leave, you are competing on the same market, and of course, probably, he was smarter than you as the founder. Why can't we cultivate an idea, or a tradition, or a culture, where we do not just pay our best employees in terms of money, but we actually open up our companies to be owned by our staff also, so that as we grow, they grow. As they come to work, they are not coming to work for you. They are not coming to work for you in the morning. They are actually coming to work for themselves. And there are examples to give there and to show. Out of that kind of culture is the reason why we are giving NVIDIA today as the topmost in terms of valuation in the world. Otherwise, it will not have been an example. And I don't think it is pure coincidence that a company that is valued most in the world in terms of market capitalization, that half of their staff are millionaires, worth more than $25 million. It is not a coincidence. It shows that that works. Open up our companies. Let us open up our companies. Let us identify our best employees. Let us also continue and start off giving them stakes, because you'd rather have your stake decimated to 45%, worth more like Microsoft, instead of starting a small minute thing where you hold by yourself, you only pay your employees, they get ideas from you, they go start their own. Then we have so many small micro businesses in Kenya, and an economy like Kenya. As much as we need those small micro companies, we also need big companies to compete globally. The reason why in Kenya, in Africa, in developing countries, we always want to be close to power. That a young man in Africa would rather join politics. Of course, we all know it's because of proximity to also resources. Because our economies run on patronage. That for you to get this, you know to know this, you have to know this. For you to proceed to this level, you have to know this kind of a person. It's not a very good thing. But that is not the point I want to drive home. The point I'm driving home is that the reason why we look for shortcuts in developing countries could probably be at what do we actually call wealth. What is wealth? When you are looking for money, what are we looking for? And I call upon all the entrepreneurs in this hall that the money we are making from tonight, it stops being possessions and it starts being capital. Once you start looking at the money you have as capital, you become innovative and greed subsides. And the money we make, all the people in this hall, business owners, you've already made enough money now to live off and to live well. But we have to go higher. And I want to give the example of Nigerian billionaires. There are people in this hall who do trading. There are people in this hall who do imports from China and elsewhere. There are people in this hall who come in between. I want to use diplomatic words. You take something here, whatever it is, to sell to this other person, you make your margin in between. I don't want to say about being a broker. That's not what I'm saying, because I want to be nice to everyone here. Nigerian billionaires. What do? After we do all those jobs of being an importer, actually what they have done, not what they do. Let me use Dangote. Dangote started off as an importer of sugar. Proceeded to use the same profit he made out of sugar to start sugar mills in Nigeria. At some point he was importing fertilizer. The same profit he took or he made out of importing fertilizer, he was not satisfied with that alone because that was majorly benefiting him. He went ahead to use that profit to start a manufacturing of fertilizer. Now we are talking about a man who has now built the biggest refinery in Africa and the fourth in the world, worth more than 20 billion in terms of the money sunk in to that project. That is the kind of mentality we must cultivate, that we do not become obsessed by only owning for owning's sake, that we just want to make money to own things. We must make our money also be the driver of the economy by also deploying our capital into areas that whereas they are making us more money, the monies are also helping our economy. Because when we create a virtuous cycle, when we do well as business people, and our capital helps our economy to do even better, then the whole sum of our businesses even do or they are catapulted to even perform even better. And that is what I beseech all of us here, that even as we do business, we look for profit, we change our mentality about what profit is. Instead of being a possession, let us use it as new capital to be deployed into new areas. Thank you very much. May God bless you.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much.
Let's give him another warm round of applause. And on that standing note, please don't sit. The rest of you, let's please stand up.